So welcome back, audience. We started this series of GrowthFit almost 2 years back, and we are in season 3 right now. And the very first episode, we have Ankit Shard here. Ankit Shard is the head of growth and head of marketing, we can consider, at the Man company. So earlier, Ankit worked with a lot of D2C brands like Bella Vita and other. Without too much introduction, let us try to grab as much knowledge as possible from Ankit. The very first question I am posing to you. Okay. So when I'm going through all the LinkedIn profiles, okay, when I'm doing my job, so we target D2C brands at CustomFit. Okay.
Correct.
And at times, being in the industry for almost a decade, I myself gets confused like whom we should consider as a growth marketer and whom we should consider as a performance marketer. And I saw your recent post as well, like where where you shared about the difference between growth marketing and the performance marketing. So, what is it? Where should we segregate it?
So I think ultimately it goes down to how you want to position yourself as a marketer. Uh, there's a lot of aspects when it comes to being a specialist in performance marketing, right? But when you look at a growth marketing mindset, you have to be willing to unlearn what you've learned over the years, right? So I would say, to make it short, I would say funnels that we learned so far are dead. It's now, we all say funnels have a problem because now the cycle ends there. It's basically a loop. So it needs newer audiences every now and then. So that is where your growth loops come into picture. And somebody who was willing to understand and replicate the entire growth loop cycle is what defines a growth marketer. And people often confuse growth marketing with performance marketing, which is not the case. And the trouble with this entire thinking or funda is that it does keep smaller MSME businesses stuck in very top-down marketing funnels. And when you look at legacy brands from that perspective, they have moved on to, let's say, evolved marketing loops. That is a strategy where it takes into account that the path to conversion is no longer linear, but it's quite messy. And you hear about all the messy middles spoken by the Metas and Google of the world, and that's where they're arriving at. That the path to conversion is no longer linear; it is messy, and that is where you have to think like a growth marketer.
Got it. So when you say like a loop marketing, what is it? You said like the funnels are old school, right? So what is the difference between funnel and loop?
So okay, you had your conventional funnels like AID, right? Awareness, intent, desire, action.
Right.
Now the entire journey, what people forget, then once you start your journey in a funnel or in the path to conversion, you do a lot of steps which gets missed by the funnel. So you saw an ad, you saw a product for the first time through an ad, possibly on Meta, IG, Snapchat, wherever, or on YouTube. And then you went down the rabbit hole in terms of understanding, okay, what are the product reviews on Amazon, what are product reviews on Reddit, is this product generally good? You look for feedback and search across Google. That's more of a research phase, right? That's something which we don't take into consideration in marketing funnels.
Right.
So your entire consideration step becomes slightly messier. So you're all over the place, and then you finally end up making a decision. Okay, now I want to convert. And so that's not a linear approach. That is what is meant by growth loops.
Got it. So you were saying that no one is ready to just go through a traditional approach of listen from someone, take a demo call, and go for the product.
Correct.
Now people are doing enough research and they are checking it in their own network. They are speaking with the people. They are taking the first-hand reference and they are looking at the testimonial. They are looking at a Reddit wherever there is a possibility. So you are saying that they are looking it and then they are going for it, right?
Correct. So if I had to probably shorten it, I would say it's basically where customers or consumers explore options, they seek information, and then they evaluate your product or service, which is basically a loop between exploration stage and evaluation stage before arriving at the decision to buy, which is your conversion finally.
Got it. So, okay. So, Ankit, you are into the D2C world from quite some time, right? And from last, 24 months or like less than that. And AI is getting into the content like anything, right? And people are, instead of writing the blogs on their own, ChatGPT is helping. And after ChatGPT, You know how it is working. I mean, a lot of other
Correct.
tools are also coming in, again, Gemini and all that, right? So, how DTC brands are adopting AI?
Okay. Uh, so ultimately, I think what's been happening over the past year or so is that D2C brands in India are treating AI like a, I would say, like a smart bartender. If you
Mm-hmm.
think of it as a bartender, right? And basically, it should remember what you drink, your preferences, what you tell
Right,
it,
right,
and then it'll obviously suggest something new. That's the entire fun aspect of it, which has nothing but AI-driven recommendations, right?
right.
And then obviously, as a bartender, you also need to keep the conversation going. That is where your, I would say, retention piece or engagement piece comes into picture, which is your chatbots or predictive analytics. Now, ultimately, look, right, AI is only as good as data it gets or put input to it. And even as marketers, let's all be honest, we are not really the kind of people who love filling out loads and loads of data. So we're very implicit in terms of what we want to use. We generally tell them what we want to buy. So I think what the D2C segments in India has focused really on is how are they micro segmenting their audiences using the AI-based recommendation engines.
Right.
Uh, we've been seeing use of a lot of predictive personalization based on what browsing habits, uh, be it for let's say retention as well in terms of ABCs or abandoned carts or past purchases. And I think if you notice over the past year or so, you'll see a lot of gamified data collection or gamified 1PD collection is what I would like to call it. You've seen that trend pick up suddenly. Like you have discounts on the basis of interactive quizzes instead of your conventional boring forms, right? So I think
Right.
that's where people have really adapted towards AI. Not just from a creative point of view, because creatives can get a bit crazy and slightly cumbersome to make. If you're a new age B2C brand, yes, you can have fun with it. But when it comes to legacy brands, you're obviously bound by certain brand guidelines and you can't really do much with AI unless you are very clear in what you want to achieve.
Right, right.
Yep.
Got
Here one question I have, Ankit. Like when you mentioned about the AI recommendations, right? How, like, adaptability has been there. Like in sense, like it's still actually I see there is a lot of vacuum that not many companies, okay, started using the AI-based recommendation, right?
Hmm.
So is that okay? It's a difficult tech to build it in-house, or okay, not right platforms available outside. Like, what's your take? Like, I see there's a serious, money on the table left over there because it should be what I feel that okay, your mobile app or your website should have as if there is a there's a marketing guy sitting right behind the screen
Hmm.
and it understands okay it's like an assistance as like assistance based selling sort of the thing, right? There is always assistant next to you, it's trying to assist you rather than okay making you buy from the salesy side. It's trying to tell you that hey look, these are all the things that may go well with you, or this is the thing okay, hey no no maybe for your picture which I have seen okay red color suits you well, those sort of the things, right? It's today if you see it's all based on what I like what like say it can also show me that hey with this sari these are all the things that can go together sort of the thing, right?
Correct.
But it won't take your own personality inside that thing, okay, whether that sari looks good for me with these things, that's not the case, right? How do you think okay uh, this AI based recommendation currently getting adapted, and what's the scope okay do you think that can be enhanced or it can be built to increase the engagement and conversion level?
Yeah. No, I think I love that example of an AI recommendation engine being your personal stylist. And I think that's like a dream come true for every shopper, especially someone who shops very heavily on Pindra. And the kind of data they have on us in terms of what we've bought, in terms of our past purchases, and they I think have most of our data. They do understand what kind of styles we follow, what kind of trends we follow. So obviously we would love to have a recommendation engine which tells you, okay, let's say I would probably my wish list for any brand would be okay. I tell the AI that okay, I'm going for a let's say a board meeting, but somewhere else, or probably I'm going for a birthday party. Give me a look, and it suggests me the look based on what I've been purchasing so far, what is trending at the moment. So I don't need to think that much. And like you correctly said, it's more like an assistant to you rather than trying to push what the brand wants you to actually buy. That's something which I think is a very big, it's a very big opportunity for all D2C brands and also for the Indian market. And I feel as Indians, as Indian consumers, we we are totally in love with variety, but at the same time we also love consistency, right? So you'll have to balance that entire experience while making it personalized, unless you want it to feel very robotic, which I
Okay.
think that is what I think people are trying to work towards, to not make the entire AI recommendation feel a bit robotic. That is where I think the most of the development is going on.
Understood. Makes sense. Makes sense. You are muted, Sharon, in case you are asking.
Sorry for that.
Alright.
And it's so back then it used to be like an offline store for any DTC brand, right? And now it completely moved to an online store. Like, and for any online store, their front face is their website. Okay.
Hmm.
So in that case, I mean earlier for any old age school model, okay, and they used to maintain that a brand loyalty, right? For if someone goes to a store, and this, I mean, if someone goes for any particular brand throughout their life, they will go for only that particular brand. They won't even do any other sort of research. Now coming to the online stores, okay, how brands are building that brand loyalty among the customers?
Okay. Uh, so I think when it comes to brand loyalty in this entire crowded D2C space, it ultimately comes back to three aspects, right?
Hmm.
So you have to first understand that besides a few anomalies, loyalty programs are technically dead. I mean, yeah, we do understand that IKEA family is obviously the biggest loyalty program in the world. Similar for, let's say, brands like Nike and Coke or even Adidas. But besides these big elephants, hardcore loyalty programs are dead. What really is working towards for us as a market and for consumers, at least for the Indian market, and I see that also happening in South Asia, is more around community building. That is a new loyalty program. So people, I mean, if I had to put it in one single line, I would say people no longer collect points; they collect experiences. So the brands that win will be the brands that make the customer that they actually belong to this set of community. And you'll see this coming up in, I think, sometime this year as well. You'll see a lot of WhatsApp groups being created or communities being created for D2C brands and calling it VIP customers. You have brand challenges and co-creation happening. And okay, if I were a perfume brand, I would say we would build this community and then we would help people. We would take the help of these people or our consumers to help us design our next fragrance,
Right.
right? Which is a big proposition. Or obviously, you have obviously since you have a community, you can always do the basics of membership based perks, which is obviously early access to sales. You have personalized notes from the founders. You have obviously access to far more, I would say, perks compared to a new customer in that aspect. So building brand loyalty amidst the competition, I think that is a bigger challenge, and that's where the entire aspect is heading towards loyalty.
Got it, got it. And what do you think, like pouring money to bring that a brand name? Like, so are D2C brands still focusing on spending money on just for branding, or like if they're mostly focused on building the customer base and sell the product? Which is
So
the
I think
priority
right,
right now? Hmm.
yeah, sorry. So I think right now all brands are more focused on. I mean, whereas most people think that D2C is purely about scaling and spending more on ads. Uh, unfortunately, that is not really the reality. And if I look at 2025, it won't be the year of scaling. It won't be the year of spending more on ads.
Okay,
It would actually be the year of creating brand moments.
okay,
Brand moments, as in where people genuinely want to talk about you as a brand. And if
okay,
people aren't sharing your product or your content, I think that is where I think you're doing it wrong.
okay.
So if I were to, let's say, recommend three hacks for 2025, would be a just focus on TikTok style virality, right? Very short, very shareable, and very quirky content, which gets you to obviously stop and you get people to engage with you. B, for the love of God, please understand the power of nano-influencers. Influencers are not about just celebrities or class A and class B ones. The nano-influencers of the country are the real people. These are guys with 1,000 and 10,000 followers, but these guys can create a huge impact once you crack them correctly. And then obviously gamify. The third pillar would be gamify referrals and word of mouth, because just between, I mean, just think of it as a consumer. We all, even as people, trust our friends more than any ad or any
Okay,
loyalty program. So
okay,
just gamify the entire referral piece.
okay.
Yep.
Got it. Yeah, and here, okay, um, let's say for your company, the man company, okay. So, as a growth head, okay, so I mean, what is it that you will look on a regular basis, like how your typical day goes?
So my typical day obviously starts with a understanding. I mean, it ends at around 12 a.m. or 1 p.m., 1 a.m. where I understand okay what's happened the entire day. So where did my sales channel end at? What was my number? And then first in the morning I go back and check what is my entire movement been like in terms of my SKU split, my category split, and then my other days is purely focused on what all can I improve from a hardcore experience perspective. Now, from with experience, I take it back to two aspects. One is what you get as a consumer,
Okay.
which is your product obviously, how fast are you getting it, what message are you getting, I mean, what kind of content are you getting from us once you place an order. That's the order to delivery experience.
Okay.
Then you go one step behind. Okay, for me to get you there to buy, how has your experience been in terms of both content, that is ad or the content piece that you interacted with, and obviously the website in terms of was the experience smooth enough for you or not. So I'll go through recordings to understand are there any friction points between add to cart to checkout. Is there some way we can probably make it a slightly more frictionless experience for the consumer to obviously move the metric by even 0.1%? That's what I think we are aiming for every single day when we walk in. The way
True.
I would really put it.
True, true. Because actually, I was like, having a conversation with one of the brand head.
Hmm.
They are okay. They're in the market since last 10 years plus, right? What his take was like, yeah, actually, see, I spent so much of time, okay, money and also efforts in building the brand name thing. Okay, every campaign what I run, right, I always ensure that okay, it goes in a right way. It should not, like it's like though what's the outcome fine, but actually it should not okay, go and create the like the brand, it should not get any sort of the negative impact on the brand thing, right? So that's where actually I see that okay, it's like whether you're on or like going towards that thing or not, okay, it's but still actually I see that there are these companies, right? So they want to latch on to the current trends and all, okay, so whatever the case, okay, at least they will get some good eyeballs towards their brand, okay, people go and check it out, right? I see there is a mix over there,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's the way I would put it. It's a double-edged sword. I mean, the very fact you and I are talking about it, that means it's already done its job. That content piece, even though it was only what probably a minute long, it has done its job. I think that's what they're trying to strive for. That finally you get our attention, the consumer's attention in this crowded space of everybody trying to be different.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. True. And what's your take on influencer marketing? Like five, any say for you want to share about this thing with our audience, like what to do and what not to do, like how whether that really makes sense or when to start, right? So you can just help with a little bit of information so that okay people can learn from your experience okay, in this influencer
Yeah.
marketing.
I think first of all, always start with micro and nano influencers before
Mm-hmm.
you go on to the next league of your 500k and 1000k follower influencers. Just start with nano and micro influencers. Get a hang of their content style and see if the brand piece can fit into it. So that'll obviously you'll get the kind of scale with these nano influencers. They are not that I would say investment heavy to work with. So you'll have a lot of nano influencers for a cost or for a fraction of a cost of a big celebrity
Right.
or a tier influencer. So I think that's the way to go about it. Start with that, and then more often than not, I think the biggest learning what I've felt from influencer marketing is that don't dictate what you want from the influencer in terms of its content task. Every influencer, like every brand, knows its core strength, both in terms of product and for the influencer, it would be his content, his or her content style, and the way their audience reacts to it. You have to find a way to come in between and subtly flow into it, rather than overtake the entire content and make it like I mean try and make it like a very addy sort of a push communication. The entire aim of influencers is to make sure you get enough pull and relevance, right? Not really to push that okay, I want to just force fit my offer there or product. I think that's the two main areas you should focus on when you start influencer marketing.
Got it. Got it. Also, I'll tell you, okay, many of our customers, they use, something called as, it's like the second step. The bad portion of the influencer marketing, or okay, not so good thing over there is the moment one of the followers of the influencer, they click on their link, what they are given in the post, whether it's Insta or Meta thing, right? The moment when they land onto the website or your landing page, the influencing portion will die, right? So as an influencer, all I influence them to get them kicked in and get onto the page, right? But after that thing, there is no way I can influence them further, okay, like all. So that's not the point, right? It's not just about, okay, making them go to the your landing page or your PDP page or your collection page and all, right?
Correct.
Ultimately, how can you influence them to make the sale happen, right? Some of the brands, what they do using CustomFit is like they create the 1:1 links for each of the influencers. I'm influencer and I'm sending my followers onto your page, right? So once they land onto the thing, they can still see my wordings, okay, my set of the very discounted offers. Like say, I can say that, hey, if you use this link, you will get my personalized offers over there, or it can be my signed,
Correct.
papers over there, and all those things, right? And that will be really visible, right? For those people who coming onto the coming onto the onto your website from those influencer links, right? And it's not just it stops at there, okay? Even say that today, if I close the tab and if I come back again as a normal as an organic visitor or as a direct Google search or a direct landing, so basically they still see those variations only, whatever actually they have seen from that thing, right? So that's where I see there's a good set of the progress or achievement, okay, or the extra conversions what you see, because now the influencing portion will keep on happening, okay, whether it's in that session, next session, or till actually
Correct.
you
Correct.
decide when you want to end that thing.
I think that's a very that's one of the very important aspects of I think influencer marketing is to keep making sure your tracking is there, right? Plus, what you just said, that builds a long-term property rather than a far more transactional relationship between a brand and influencer. And that's what I think every marketer is trying to work towards. That
Right.
let's make it long-term rather than a very transactional sort of a campaign.
Oh yeah, like see, the thing here is like, for example, even if I see any ad, right? For example, okay, say I clicked your ad and land onto your page. Okay, say that you got me to your PDP page, great, right? So how often do you think, okay, since like on the very first visit, the sale percentage, okay, on the D2C side, it's not that high. It's at least okay, 80 to 90% of the time, the buying won't happen, right? Very on the first visit, it's not that I saw your ad, clicked, and I bought, right? That happens, right? Basically, the visitor, like as you mentioned, right? They're coming for the awareness now, and then okay, next time when they visit, okay, you are trying to engage them to the next level, showcasing, okay, this is exactly built for them, or this is made for them, sort of the thing, and all, right? Finally, you take them to the purchase cycle, right? So, but if you see the money what these DTC brands are spending, right? It's a kind of bloodbath. It's the same fish pond. Everybody is trying to catch the fish, right? So, I want to understand from your side, right? So, what is the that couple of points which you want to advise with respect to the effective conversion strategies, okay, when the moment you spend with respect to the RO, the ROAS what you get, right? So please help our viewers with respect to in line of those things, okay, how can they make impactful game over there when they are spending the money on paid traffic.
Correct. I mean, ultimately, perf marketing obviously is that's going to stay. But I think looking at the bigger picture, right? It's all about implementing adaptive web strategies. I mean, yeah, you have. I mean, we have tools like you, which is CustomFit, and obviously, if you as a brand that right now not adapting your website is not adapting as per the consumer, I think we're going back to 2015 days when how e-commerce was done, right? So the website should change depending on what the user is. Is he a new user? Is he a repeat user? Right? If a customer is, let's say, browsing, for example, you showcase an ad about, let's say, grooming products.
Mm-hmm.
Your homepage should reflect that. It
Right.
can't suddenly switch and reflect to, let's say, something around, I would say, makeup. Right?
Right.
If the communication was on grooming, your landing page should bloody well talk about grooming in terms of educating them about the product, again the same framework of problem benefit solution. And if you take it one level deeper, if they're a, let's say, regular customer and they always shop for, let's say, COD, don't force hardcore prepaid offers to them. Give them a small nudge probably.
Right.
Okay, here's a hook for you. If you do prepaid, I'll give you something. So trying to add value rather than push him towards go towards prepaid and just take 5% off. That's not really the solution, right? So I think you have to keep adapting. If your website is not adapting to your consumer, like you correctly said, your performance marketing monies are eventually going to be stagnant, and you're going to hit the entire ROAS bit very soon.
Understood. Makes sense, makes sense. And also, Ankit, I want to understand, okay, have you observed any change in the preferences or the behaviors of the consumer, okay, in 2025 and compared to, 2024 sort of the thing, like from your experience, what are the things you kind of, okay, embraced, like, where you are started, okay, analyzing, hey, this is the new set of the behavior, okay, because everything is changing, right, with from the fast fashion level to even the attention span also very less, right? How do
Yeah.
you like what's your take on the or what like have you observed any change in the consumer behavior very lately, like say from 2025 onwards?
Yep, I think I would start on 24. Uh, I'll talk about it in two aspects. One
Mm-hmm.
would be in terms of content consumption pattern. I mean, in terms of what kind of ads people have to consume and interact with.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen people still interact with FOMO deals, right? So limited time offers. They like to shop uh, with the favorite influencer who's probably streaming live on either Twitch or on YouTube or on Instagram. So they want that. They want an experience of being able to shop live. Uh, and the funny part, people are suddenly moving towards trusting WhatsApp as a standalone storefront.
Right, right.
So people are more comfortable. I would say, but not. I would say more trusting to complete the entire journey on WhatsApp
Mm.
rather than leave the native browser and go to your Safari or Google Chrome and then continue your conversion journey. That's
Mm.
been a good shift. Meme commerce has picked up beautifully. I would say that's
Mm.
a place where everybody is getting into, and so you think all trending memes and plus a product integration, like you mentioned, Ganji Chodal, that worked perfectly well. Uh, I think second aspect would be around how consumers are slowly navigating or how brands have to navigate the declining online trust factor, right? I mean, yes, we do love two things. We do love word of mouth, and we generally love our own experiences and people around us. But they do understand that most of the reviews that you see on Amazon or on D2C websites sound like a Dear Diary entry, right?
Mm.
That's where I think we've seen the shift of more focus on UGC and real customer videos rather than hardcore R&R that you see across Amazon D2C. I think something which I'm very excited about, and I'm trying to read up more on that is blockchain-based verified reviews.
Was it
That's
okay?
something I think Amazon is probably testing it around. So that's going to be a game changer when it comes to trust.
Right, right, right. Makes sense, makes sense. And also when you say, like when you see that, okay, the like shortened content, like say it can be video reels versus the long tail content thing, say that,
Hmm.
okay, it's like in a 5 minute video, we are explaining everything about your product and all those things, right? So what's your take? Like, both has its own advantages and disadvantages, right? So like from your angle, like for example, the short term reels and all, okay, it also has that ability to go viral even after a year sort of the thing, right?
Yep.
So what's your take with respect to both the angles, like whether you need to invest in both the sides, like how you want to take this?
Yeah, I mean it should be a healthy split of both educational, long term, and slightly shorter or snackier videos. I would say snackable videos, but depending on category to category.
Hmm.
So let's say if you are somebody who's into hardcore active skincare,
Hmm.
right, where you do need to showcase your actives that in the product, what benefits do they provide you, and then expected outcomes for the consumer. So you'll obviously have to start with educational content, which will obviously be slightly longer.
Uh-huh.
By longer, I don't mean it's going to be longer than a minute or 1.5 minute. It can be still done in 60 seconds. You don't need a 5 minute long video to explain what a
Correct.
vitamin C serum will do for you. And then you then tag it along with your shorter content in terms of hardcore UGCs, customer testimonials of okay how they've experienced the product and seen results with it. And then you obviously shorter videos around if you have any offers coming up lately, or you have a buy one get one going around, or if you have a customers only flash sale happening. So you have to have a healthy mix, but again, depending on category to category, that mix would vary. right?
Makes sense. Yeah. Sure. That's right. Right. And when it comes to the scaling of D2C brands, right, what are the levers, okay, that D2C brand should, focus to scale, at least, okay, from 2025 thing, and how, they can implement these strategies, right? So what's your, advice at the when the brands are at the scaling stage?
Hmm. Again, I would go back to my three pillars. I would just add one fourth pillar of which I'll come to the fourth pillar later. First, obviously, focus on TikTok style virality
Uh-huh.
with a short, shareable, quirky content. Educational content if you're into a space which requires a bit of education for the product,
Science behind the
or
product.
if it's a science-based, clinical-based product they're trying to put out into the market. B, start and please leverage nano-influencers. Make the most out of it. Part three, gamify the entire referral aspect of it and amplify and build advocates rather than just noise instead of loyalty programs. Fourth, again, as always I said, you have to be able to willing to take the risk in implementing adaptive web strategies. So invest for the love of God in A/B testing tools like CustomFit to adapt to what your consumer is doing, how they're coming and interacting with the website. Because unless you do that, you'll never get an understanding of okay, what is my consumer actually doing on the landing page,
Right.
right? So then you can obviously optimize on the fly, be it for a new customer, for a repeat customer, or even for as details as for campaign A and campaign B on Meta and Google,
Right.
right? So these four aspects.
Makes sense, man. These are really good points. Right. One last question I have, Ankit, with respect to the trust building thing, right?
Hmm.
I mean, basically, if you see, there's a huge, say for example, if I go to, a D2C brand, say I saw their ad, I, really like that, the pitch of them inside that thing. So I go with that intent that, okay, I want to go and explore on, more on that, regarding that particular product, right? Now, I'm the first time visitor, I'm coming onto your site, right? So somehow I can trust the Amazon reviews or Flipkart reviews and all, right? So first thing, okay, what the brand should do to ensure that, to convey that this is a trustworthy site, okay, this is a trustworthy product, and like, see, people like you around you, okay, they bought this product and they are kind of satisfied with that thing, right? So how, like, see, these days, okay, there's a kind of all the, all these fake reviews and all those things and scams and all, right? How do you, build and maintain that customer trust, right? Any good points around there, okay, the D2C brands can follow?
I mean, yeah, correct. I mean, if you look in terms of a hardcore reality check, consumers don't believe what brands say anymore, right? They believe what customers actually show. So your
Correct.
made in India tags, all that aren't really enough. Verified by real users is what probably is what the consumers want to look at. And if your brand, in terms of let's say even customer experience, vanishes after a few complaints, then I'm pretty sure the customers will one fine day make sure that your brand vanishes completely from the market, right? Be it all your Twitter and X callouts and your posts on LinkedIn coming up. Now, for D2C brands to rebuild or let's say build and maintain trust in 2025, I think first pillar, stay true to your hardcore uh, customer generated content. Again, not user, real customer generated content. Forget your studio shoots for the love of God. People trust customers more than your brands, and it's as easy as please to pick up the phone and call your customer and okay, I want a genuine review of if you love my product and will you be willing to talk about it. And people are more often than not happy to comply. So you can have the entire own TikTok style content, real customer generated video, which is your future of brand task. So you can encourage people to, if you don't even want to shoot with them, just ask them to upload unfiltered reviews, self shot videos, right? So
Correct.
not really high production cost involved. And if a customer buys a product, they love them, let them promote it, right? Let them have them some skin in the game. So
Correct.
you build an advocacy program rather than a hardcore kickback program.
Correct.
So you're building advocates rather than building affiliates, right?
Exactly.
So if you look at, I think the most recent example would be Nika started their entire rail buyer videos on product pages, right?
Correct.
Which is, I think, this is going to become the next normal or BAU, I think,
Correct.
2025, right? Uh, Pillar two, I think, would again go back to hardcore. How do you figure out if your reviews are AI powered? So kill the fake ones. People can easily detect and know that when your reviews are fake.
Correct. Correct.
And yes, reviews on Amazon and Flipkart are your reviews, so you can always repurpose them and show them on your website.
Correct, correct.
And I think number three would revolve around just be very transparent on your refund and return policies.
Exactly,
Don't
exactly.
hide the fine print, man. There's no need to hide the fine print. Uh, you see this trend picking up of instant refunds details, which is becoming very popular. So no hassle refunds, live order tracking, obviously, which is something people expect
Hmm.
since we're used to dealing with it since we've always spoiled with Amazon, right? So we still wait for that out for delivery anxiety,
Uh,
right? So I mean, I think the best example in this case would be Lenskart's 14, I think 14-day trial. Yeah, they have
yeah,
that,
correct. They are the
right? So that's just really cool. That I mean, they kicked it off in D2C, which is a really cool model to work towards.
correct, correct. True,
And
true.
then the last one, yes, since you're focusing on customers, you're building reviews with customers. You have the entire edge now to build a community of real customers. So community-led branding,
Correct.
that is obviously going to be your end game. And I think nothing can shout and build and shout more credibility and trust than you have an entire community rooting for you.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So
That's
TLDR, kill the influencer, build the advocate.
correct. Makes sense. Because okay, a lot of time even actually I saw some of these influencer videos and all. Okay, when I went and when I bought something, okay, it's not exactly what I was looking at,
Hmm.
right? So like say, I should feel that people like me around me, okay, they bought that thing and okay, they have given the good reviews and they kind of even if they say that 1% I am benefited about this, say if I'm using this cream,
Hmm.
really it helped me 1% to reduce the, for example, okay, let's say black patches, any of those things, right? So then that's a good thing, right? So people are saying that thing out
Right.
loud, right? So that's the thing. And one final addition to that thing, you also just touch base on the the returns and all those things, right? So the biggest another I mean basically the D2C brands needs to brace with respect to how can they reduce the returns and all, right? So from your side, any quick pointers over there? Okay, how can we uh, you know
I mean, from an RTO perspective, it would go back to again if you have certain pin codes that are very high in RTO,
mhm.
we need to obviously understand in terms of okay, is the address first of all correct? There are a lot of I've seen instances where the address is not even properly filled and it still counts as an order. That's something which can be worked upon. Uh, and more often than not, I think RTO is also a function of your prepaid and COD ratio. If your prepaid ratio is slightly higher, I think you are probably in the green for a reduced or a lower RTO. So pushing that consumer to work towards a prepaid model is something which I think all D2C brands should work towards. At the same time, not to discourage COD orders because yes, people love to try and buy first since it would be their first experience for a newer brand into the D2C market. You can probably, if you feel that it's going to be high risk order, you can probably take some partial payment and then continue that COD option. That's I think is also a trend which is picking up in COD these days. Sharon, mute. You're on mute.
Right, right, Ankit. Okay, Ankit, and we okay, so we being in the field of A/B testing and website personalization. Okay, so and we also at CustomFit we target. I mean, our audience are mostly D2C brands.
Mm.
Okay, so what is your thought into like A/B testing or website personalization for D2C brands? Like, are D2C brands really considering A/B testing, or like are they taking the leverage of website personalization? You know it, right? For each and every consumer, their taste is different. So you can't sell the same stuff for each and every individual customer, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think so. A/B testing and D2C go totally hand in hand now. It is no longer a hack. It is become a norm or a BAU in the D2C space. If you're not A/B testing, if you don't have tools like CustomFit with you, I think you're missing out on the larger chunk of the pie. Uh, you have to focus on. I mean, yes, there's obviously marketing. There's a lot of there's content which you need to focus on. There's also product, but when it comes to experience, it goes both ways in terms of your creative assets and your experience for the consumer on your website or app. And you have to adapt as per what you see, right? So if you don't have that capability built or you don't have the tools ready with you, I think the entire experience is going to feel very, very, I would say, robotic and very mundane.
Mm-hmm.
So why would a customer keep coming back and purchasing from you?
Okay, okay, got it. So at your company right now, okay, the man company,
Yep.
and how, I mean, what is it that you consider is the most important part of your marketing effort? Like, you might be doing multiple stuff, right? You
Hmm.
might be doing paid ads, or like you might be doing content marketing, you might be doing influencer marketing and all that, right? But what is it which you think is the most important thing any DTC brand should not forget, and that should be part of their marketing efforts?
Yeah, first of all, would obviously be I mean, with that clear focus of building advocates rather than building hardcore just consumers or sell out order IDs, right? So our core focus obviously going to be building more advocates for any brand that you partake. That's
Okay.
P1 for us. P2 would be the experience the consumer gets in terms of both the kind of content they see and how fast and how quickly can the product be delivered to them. So it's a far more seamless experience for them in the entire journey when you experience a new brand.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously third part would be how do we improve the entire experience for them in terms of
Mm-hmm.
website experience, app experience, and then also where all can we use their support and feedback to improve on certain NPDs, right? So even if we want to build out a new product, our consumers are our best go-to research people rather than hiring a marketing agency to understand what things we can further improve upon.
Got it, got it, got it. Ankit, we have, during all our episodes, okay, there is one question that we ask common. Actually, there are two questions, okay,
Hmm.
which we ask to all our guests, okay. And first one is like, could you tell us any one hack, okay, which you figured out and which gave the killing results? Any one hack, as such.
Okay, I'll give you this one hack. Uh, it worked for me. We tried it across multiple brands. It did work for them. Whenever we run any sort of perf marketing ads on Meta or IG, next time when you publish that ad, copy the ad URL and make sure you share it across with some people that are close who are close to you around you,
Okay,
and get some initial engagement out there on the ad in terms of
okay,
probably a like or a heart or a comment. It
okay.
need not be appreciating the brand or the ad. It just
Mm-hmm.
needs to you just need to engage with the ad for a while,
Okay.
and then you'll suddenly see the ads in which you made or forcefully made people engage with around you
Mm-hmm.
just for the
Okay.
initial bit
Mm-hmm.
had a slightly more, I mean, I would say it would have at least 15-20% higher performance compared to the ones which did not
Oh,
have any comments or engagements around it. So if your
I see.
ads are engaged
Okay.
and you start with that, you'll see the benefit of why Meta still has that stupid like and heart button and comment button when it comes to engagement rate. It's still
Okay.
engagement rate also applies to ads.
right.
That is why they
Got it.
showcase it on the dashboard as well.
Uh-huh. Okay. Okay. This is quite interesting. Okay. I don't know. I mean, this should not be the ideal case, but if it is
It should
working, it's
not, but
working.
yeah, we've tried it. It kind of works.
Okay. 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 And coming to the final question. Okay.
Yeah.
See, in marketing, we have multiple metrics, right? So we look at daily website traffic, or it can be CTR, like it can be like your conversion rate, or it can be ROEs. There are a lot of metrics, right? So, if at all you were allowed to go to an island, okay, and you should take only one metric along with you, like what is that one metric which you love and which you can spend time like anything, even if you are alone in an island.
Okay. If I were stranded in an island with just one metric, okay, uh, I would look at hardcore repeat purchase rate, man.
Okay,
Is my RPR going up or not?
okay,
It's generally between 15 to 20% for most categories, and for beauty, etc., I think that goes up to 40%. So I would look at RPR, and probably along with me, I would take obviously lifetime value.
Okay.
Those
okay,
I would take two. I'd be greedy. I'd take two metrics to an island rather than one.
okay.
Okay.
Got it, got
Nice.
it. Okay. So I think we had a great time with you, Ankit.
Yeah,
And
likewise.
as a final note, like, do you want to add anything?
As a final note, I think I would say for any D2C brand who's obviously doing insanely well, we'll see a lot of more brands come up this year. I think the entire mantra for the year should be focus on trust, which is a combination of transparency and proof. So show don't tell, the way they say it, and make sure trust is a product feature rather than just what you talk about on your TNC condition on a landing page. And then let your own customer do the selling, build advocates.
Right, right. It doesn't matter which era we are into. Trust is one thing.
Yeah,
Nothing can replace.
correct.
Cool, cool, cool. So thanks a lot, Ankit. Thanks for your time, and it's a good start for this new season.
Yep.
And thank you, Ashwin, as well.
Thank you,
For,
Ashwin. Yeah.
Thanks,
taking your
thanks,
time.
Ankit. It was a really
Bye.
great
See
talking
you.
to you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for sharing your valuable